Okay, so this will be the first official bit that I do. So me talking to myself. What I end up usually doing is like going off on a tangent and then coming back. But since I have to like start from zero, what I'm gonna tell y'all a story. So let me say so we're um talking about body positivity. Um, a tough subject for a lot of people. Some people I know have dealt with it. I've dealt with it. Um, so how I usually, cause I like talk to myself for like long periods of time. I just go off on a tangent. So I don't like I'll stay on point as much as possible. But so let's start at let's say like the very kind of not the like this is kind of the very beginning of the whole or we could talk. Okay, so yeah, this is the I was about to say insecurity, and that's where I usually go off on the tangent. I mean, we could do that too. It's kind of they kind of mesh together, in a weird kind of it's a weird way. But I'm not just gonna like talk. What I want to do is like help provide a solution because sure you can talk about stuff, but like when I listen to something, I want to learn something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not just gonna be giving ideas. I'm just not just that, but also kind of like solutions. You know, so and not like not not tested. This is they've got you take them with a grain of salt. I'm no professional, but it's kind of like how I kind of grew as a person with regards to insecurity and positivity. So let's start. I guess we could start in probably probably the sixth no ninth grade because I didn't really care too much in middle school. Um, so basically in middle school I was cooling. Um, I was cooling, and then towards the end of the year, like after the school play that I did, I got into this crowd. I made some friends with seniors. It was my freshman year of high school. I made friends with seniors, which would later become a mistake. And I actually I take that back. Not a mistake. It was just a kind of like a learning experience. Um, and nothing detrimental happened. It would just not end up too well. But I'll get to that when I get there. Um, so I made some senior friends, and I was watching My Hero Academia, and I like saw like Midoriya. He was like working to inherit All Might's power, and he trained. He was working, and I was like my dad's got this like this weightlifting thing in the basement. I could probably do that too. But I didn't think that at the time when I was watching. I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then, you know, I was hanging out with these seniors a lot, and at the end of the year, they kind of like they just dropped me, like they just kicked me out of their group, like altogether, because we were all in a Discord server together, and they were like, J Cole, they're being kind of cringe. We're dropping you, like just like we're kicking you, and I was like, and this was it was actually we had gone out that night. And the thing about being a freshman is because they drive you everywhere because you can't drive. And so we were out. It was like 11 o'clock at night. We were at a battlefield, kind of like park, and we were just sitting around, like I guess just talking. Um, you know, and it was kind of like a surreal moment because it was dark. There was no light or anything, and just talking about it's like what are we gonna do out of high school, and some of them weren't really sure what they were gonna do. Um, and so this was probably one of those times where you kind of like talk it out to either get some ideas from other people or to like come up with some sort of solution by talking to somebody or a group of people. But I had to kind of cut that short because my mom was like, you got to be home at a certain time, and it was like 11:30, 11:40 at night. And so they were all talking, and then one of them was like, well, what are you thinking about J. Cole? Because that's what they called me because they thought it was cool. And I was like, how I'm gonna get home, like how I gotta get back home. And they were like, yeah, I guess we should go back. And I don't think I think one of them like didn't take that too well because he had to drive me home. And the car ride home was silent because I'm not a talk, like I don't talk with people so much. Like I'm a really good listener, like I can listen to people, but I don't talk as much as I think I should. And so the car ride home was kind of silent. And then like when we got into because we lived in the same neighborhood, once we got into our neighborhood, I was like, I asked the dude. He was like, I was like, is this like was high school like fun? Like, did you enjoy it? And he was like, it's high school is high school. Um, and he was like, keep a journal or whatever. Just do you basically. Um, and I guess that's what he said. I can't really remember the conversation, but something about it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like he didn't want me to be there, kind of. It was a kind of a reluctant feeling, and so I got home and everything, and I went to my mom and I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna be hanging out with them, at night anymore. Maybe just during the day. So as to not, be a burden on them with driving me places and having to cut the night short and whatever. And she was like, okay. And so I went in my room. I think it was probably a Friday night because I got on my computer and I started to I started to play Roblox. I remember this part vividly. I got on my computer and I got on Robeats, which is a game on Roblox, and then I got a notification on Discord, and it was like this thing. The guy who drove me home was basically like, J. Cole, we're kicking you out of the Discord. And like we don't want you to hang out with us anymore. And I was like, damn, okay. And so I I typed back. I was like, you know what? I understand. That's completely all right. That's up to you guys. It's if that's what y'all want to do, that's all right. And to be completely honest, I was being kind of a brick because they had a party one night, and I was like, I want to go to y'all party, and they were like, no, J. Cole, you don't want to go to the party. It's not fun being the only sober person around drunk people. And I was like, no, 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 I'm cool, I'm cool. I'm good. Like, let me go. And they're like, no, 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 no. And I got mad at that because I was like, no, I can handle it. I know in my mind, like I'm good. Um, but they didn't let me, and I was eventually like, okay, whatever, I won't go. And I think that really, I, I think that was one of the things that got them kind of like, he's being kind of cringe right now. That and another thing, but I won't speak on that. So where was I? Right. I got the notification and I was like, okay, fine. If y'all don't want me to hang out anymore, that's cool. Whatever. And then I like cried myself to sleep because it was like they were my only like group of friends. Like I wasn't really like real friends with any other, like I didn't feel like I had any other close friends. Like I wasn't close friends with any freshmen at the time, any other freshmen at the time. Um, because I had my computer built, but the gamers that I hang out with now, we weren't like we weren't like how we are now. I was still kind of like new to them in a way. Um, so I felt like I lost my only friend group, and so I like, I was sad. Um, and then, the next week I was at my dad's and I was watching My Hero Academia, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start working out. And so that's what I did. And so I started working out, and I saw results quickly, like, a week in, 2 weeks in, I was seeing, definition in my arms and abs and all that. And that's kind of where my, you know, my my own body image kind of started to manifest in my mind. Um, so and then the rest, it was all good. And then so nothing really happened sophomore year. I don't think. I was kind of cooling. Junior year, I don't think anything happened either. I'm trying to remember what classes did I have, because I try to like remember stuff like around the time that might have had influence on my thinking at the time. What did I take junior year? I literally can't remember. Oh right, no, I was cooling. Yeah, I was cooling for most of junior year. Um, Pretty much. I think it's senior year where it started to hit me. Um, I really don't know where the sadness came from, because I was basically like, I'm cooling, and if I look, cause like I can't remember if I was sad before or after. Or like I was probably sad before I started my spam on Instagram, but let's see, when did I start it? December. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was toward the middle of senior year where I started getting that, kind of that feeling, that insecurity, like, you know, why don't it was a girl thing. I'll admit it. I was like, why don't girls like me? What's wrong with me? What do I lack? Um, and I don't think it was because I had like a huge crush on this one girl that I met first at a theater thing, and then again at a Scholastic Bowl thing. She knows who she is right now if she's listening to this. And people on my spam probably, or a couple of people do, but I won't name names. And I don't think it was her that started it. I don't even think she was like a part of it, but it was, I guess it was kind of like a subconscious thing, like, why doesn't, like, you know, because the first time we had a conversation over text, it was cool. Like, we were talking to each other. It ended up being like 2 hour long conversation, and it was cool. And then I started to get like, a little um too aggressive, not in a bad way, but like I would text more frequently than I should have, and then after that I just stopped. And then I think that's when it manifested. It was like, what's wrong with me? And I went through this phase of like, it doesn't, and I was still working out. Like, I had been working out, all through high school. And I was like, I was ripped, I was toned, I had abs, I had muscle. And I have to give a shout out to my AP, or not AP, my chemistry 2 class. If any of you who are in my Chem 2 class, A4, I love y'all. They really hyped me up, especially the one dude. I don't want to name names because I don't want to call anybody out. But the one dude who knows who he is, he knows who he is. Um, he would like be like, Josh, like roll up your sleeve, let me see your arms. He's like, flex for us. And then I would, and he would be like, dude, look at this dude, man, he's a god. It made me feel really good. But despite that, I still felt like and that felt good. Like that was cool, and I appreciated that. But despite all that, it was like, but I'm, like it felt like, and I don't like thinking about it now. I'm kind of like, well, did you really like talk to any girls? And I'm like, no, not really. But it was kind of like, like why don't girls like me? Like what's wrong with me? Like I'm hot apparently. What's up? Um and so that's when I was like, I think it, and that's when it was like, it's my face, isn't it? Because they're like, and it's not because they weren't like, complimenting my face and saying I look good, but I think it was just like it might have been that, I don't know. I don't want to blame it on that, but subconsciously it might have been, okay, maybe it's my face because obviously my body's cool. It must be my face that's the problem, you know. And I'm gonna like I admit this all the time. Like I was not an attractive kid. Like my face, my head. I hate this, but my head was like so round. I was like, how could anybody like think I was attractive back when I was like in middle school or like like sophomore year below. Like my head was so round. I hated it. I hate looking at it now. And then when my jawline came in, I was like, okay, we're growing. This is getting better. We're getting somewhere. But yeah. And so I got like that was what I was like sad about because I was like, girls don't like me because I'm ugly. Um, you know, and because I was like, it doesn't matter what my body looks like because I have like clothes on all the time. So it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Like if my face doesn't look good, then they're not gonna like me, and I'm just gonna be alone forever. And that's what I was thinking at the time. And so yeah, and so I got really sad about that. And then but and I put that on my spam. I was like, I was just I was open. And I felt it was also because I didn't like have like I felt like I needed a relationship. Like I was like I want a girlfriend. I want somebody to like care about more significantly than anybody else. And I think that's why. And also that and it was my 18th birthday back in February, and I was still feeling these feelings, and I got on Tinder for the not. I mean, like I can say it was for the meme, but low key it wasn't. But like low key it was for the meme. Um, and that was just a complete dumpster fire. Like I got I got I got matched with one person who I already knew because I saw I was swiping and I was like, hey, that's a person from school, and I was like, oh, it's actually two people. I kind like I the one person I was like, hey, that's her from school, and I was like, yo, what up? And she was like, yo, what up? And then another person I recognized who went to my school, but that didn't go anywhere. Um, and then and she said she was like, yeah, I've seen you in the halls. That's why I swiped. And so and this was the reason for both of them because they knew who I was. And then the last one, um, it was a like she was like good looking, and I like texted her and then she never texted me back, and I was like, okay. Um, so yeah, that didn't work, and then I downloaded a whole bunch of other dating apps, and none of them worked. Like the one that I'm kind of glad that happened because I made the funniest joke ever. Um, I matched with a random girl, and she wasn't talking at all. And so I asked, I was like, so how are you holding up in quarantine? She was like, good. And I was like, you're good? Good at what? And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. But that was it, and it just didn't work for me. And so that's when it got worse. I was like, okay, so obviously, like that kind of confirmed it for me because I was thinking, I was like, okay, I'm ugly, got it. And then I did that, and I was like, okay, I'm for sure ugly, like undeniably, because I'm not getting any matches. And if I am, it's, one or two, I'm like at all. So, um, so that confirmed it. I was like, okay, I'm ugly for sure. And so then I was like, okay, well, how can I change? Like, how do I change my face? It kind of felt inevitable that I was going to be like this. I didn't feel like I was, growing. My face wasn't changing too much. And, excuse me. And so I was like, yeah, I'm sad because this situation is kind of garbage. Um, and then the quarantine happened, and I think that helped. At first, it didn't. So now we're talking about coronavirus. You know, back in when we had spring break in whatever month it was, March. Um, I was still feeling these feelings, and now I was in Florida at the time, and I was kind of coming into. Hold on, I think I can because I have it on my spam. Let me see. I know it's here somewhere. Hold on. Oh, I did. I deleted it. Oops. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yep. All right. So I guess I don't have it. But at some point, I eventually realized, and another thing was I kept watching videos. It was like videos on YouTube. That's another thing that got me. It would show up in my recommended. It was like, how to make girls fall in love with you, how to get girls attracted to you instantly, how to get girls even if you're not the best looking person in the room. And I would just watch them, and it felt like they were all beating around the bush. They never give me like a definitive, like, this is how you do it, like the step by step. And you get those ads on YouTube. It's like, what's the 5 word question you can ask a girl to get her instantly to fall in you, get her to instantly fall in love with you? It's stupid. Um, and so I kept watching those, and it like I felt like I was learning something, but in hindsight, I wasn't because I could never put them into practice. So yeah, and then so yeah that, and then fast forward to Florida. I'm in Florida. Oh wait, no, rewind. I had realized, and so yeah, the videos they kept talking about how how you can't care. Like, you can't show that you care initially. You have to act like, they don't exist. Stuff like that. Like F-boy stuff. Like, treating them like garbage, being the bad boy, being a jerk because that's what they like. And I wasn't hip with it because I'm not a bad, like, I can't pretend to do that. Like, I'm a genuine person. Like, I'm a good liar, but I'm a genuine person, and I'm a really honest person. So I can't pretend to be a bad boy. Like, it's not gonna happen. Um, the most I could do was pretend that I didn't care, and all I had to do was like not. And they had the thing with texting. It was like, you don't text them every day. You gotta leave them on red. You gotta have this amount of time spread between texts. Um, and the only thing that I felt that was valuable information that I didn't get until, after all this had happened was, you shouldn't be texting girls unless it's to meet up, in real life. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But everything else, you know, it was like a game to them, in the videos. That's basically how it was, how I felt, how I perceived it. It was like, okay, this is a game. You have to play these levels a certain type of way, and I didn't want to play the game. That's what I felt it was. I didn't want to play a game. It didn't feel like this should be a game. Um, and and then not just the videos on YouTube, But the videos on TikTok of like guys like, who were feeling the same way I was. It was like confirmation bias. I was like, yeah, girls suck. They're always playing with our hearts and all that. Girls are garbage. And then the whole thing with double standards and everybody's talking about girls ain't shit, guys ain't shit, you know? And it's like it's a bad cycle to get into. And I was in it for a little bit. And I didn't like it. I didn't because like I was like, okay, it feels like a game. It's polarized. It's boys versus girls is what it felt like. You know, um, and so basically, I one time I made a TikTok and it was basically like don't generalize because that's all the people did. They just like girls do this, guys do that, and I was like, no, 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 those certain people do those certain things. Like my thing was like, like guys don't cheat on girls, like cheaters cheat on people, you know? Like not all guys cheat, obviously. All cheaters cheat though. You know what I'm saying? So that's I kind of, I became enlightened for a second and I thought that and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Because I don't like it when people generalize at all. Um, so yeah. So I was like, not all guys cheat, not all girls cheat, all the cheaters cheat, only players play with people's hearts, and all that. So while I was in that, kind of it was a big confirmation bias, and then I got out of it. Like I stopped, and then I was doing videos on TikTok, but I stopped like going on. I deleted TikTok actually. I remember now. I deleted TikTok for a little bit because I was tired of seeing it. I was tired of seeing those videos because it got annoying because I was like, this is all I'm seeing now. This is what my life is right now, and I don't want it to be that. So I deleted TikTok for a little bit. Um, and yeah, and then it was in. Now we get to Florida, and so I'm in Florida, and I'm feeling these feelings. Did I? Hold on, I think I skipped over something. Okay, not in Florida yet. I'm leaving y'all. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I promise. But so eventually I realized, it's not a game. I'm not gonna view it as a game. And so I basically came up with this is a statement, and I put it on my spam, but I deleted it. But it went along something like, I don't care what anybody says. I am who I am, and I act how I act, and I know how I act is good and not bad. So I'm just gonna keep doing me and just kind of like be patient. And then eventually, the right girl I'll meet the right girl and we'll have the same kind of values, the same kind of worldview, you know, and then we'll just, we'll click. And so that's what I had in my head. I was like, that was kind of like my first affirmation of, I know who I am who I am, I accept who I am, and this is how I'm gonna, act from now on. And then eventually I got into the point where I was like, it shouldn't even be a priority at this point, you know? Like I can't focus on school because school's bricked, but focus on literally anything else. I gotten into photo editing at the time, and I did a lot of that. When I re-downloaded TikTok, I started making videos, and they were just like, me doing videos of photo edits. I just put I I did a thing. I do a thing and edit photo. Um, and so I got into that. I went I went to a concert with my two friends, and um, you know I they let me ride their penny boards, and I was like, hey, this is pretty fun. I can do this pretty well. So I had skating was an interest for a little bit. um, and then that, and the rest of what school was, the little bit of work that we had to do, and then college, preparing for college, and so I was like, girls shouldn't even be a priority at this point. And then so, but the little bit of sadness from that whole ordeal was still kind of there. Now we're in Florida, finally, and I'm feeling these feelings, and I'm like, okay, I just need like one more bit of confirmation. And because people are telling, because I'm saying on my spam, like, I feel like I'm ugly. I feel like my face is a problem. And people are like, no, it's not. Don't care about what girls think. It's not about what other people think. You have to be secure in yourself or whatever. And it's funny because people say that, and then they're not like really secure about themselves all the time. And I guess that's just like that's a natural thing. You just want to like make somebody else feel better. But if you're not in that, if you don't think that about yourself, then how could you say that about somebody else? Like it's the intent is genuine, and it's a good intention, but it doesn't have any of that, it's not real. You're just saying it because you know that that's what the other person wants or needs to hear. But I digress. Um, and so I was like, okay, somebody tell me I'm not ugly one more time. And then they did. And I was like, all right, bet. I'm not ugly. Got it. And so, yeah. And then, I'm back home, cooling. And I'm less sad. Just it was, and then the only reason I was kind of down was because quarantine. I couldn't see any of my friends, and I was like missing that human connection. Um, for the first 2 months of quarantine, and so that's why I was still a little down. That and it was a lot. A lot of it was I missed out on prom. I actually had a prom date this year. The first year I had a prom date to prom because I went to prom. The seniors took me to prom when I was a freshman. I didn't go as a sophomore because obviously I didn't have any senior friends, and I went junior year, and this year I asked a girl and she said yeah, and so I had a prom date but no prom, and then there was a humanities field trip which I was really excited about because the seniors the seniors I was friends with in freshman year. They talked about it so much. It was a field trip to the zoo, the Richmond Zoo, um, and I was super hyped for that. But that got canceled. Prom got canceled. No graduation. No seeing friends again. No seeing teachers, other than Zoom calls. But it was just it was a, it was a hit. And so that's why I was still in the gutter for a little bit. But then once once I had my college figured out, once I knew where I was going, I was like, okay, I have something to look forward to. Um, and then the summer, like school officially ended. I didn't have to do schoolwork anymore. All right, just came back from dinner. Where was I? Um, Sorry about that. Um, I really don't know. Okay, I actually forgot. um, Probably was I getting to the solution bit? I think I was at like I was like it was like in quarantine. The I was sad because human isolation and all that. And then right, once the college. Once I had my college bit completed, like once I was like, okay, I'm going here. I had something to look forward to. Yep. Um then it it kind of started to wear off. Um all of the with all the things, because my mom was doing the most to try and make the end of the year as memorable as possible because of all the events that would normally happen got canceled. um that The editing that I was doing made me feel really good about myself. I never considered myself to be like an artist. Like I can't draw for my life, but to make those, to like edit those photos and do that, and to call myself an artist, it made me feel good. um so yeah, and so I just, you know And that also had Honey Pop 2 to look forward to, and dude's been wishy-washy with the updates, but we got some. So, you know, things just started to get better. And girls weren't as much of a priority anymore. And so that's when I started thinking, and I think that the time that I had to think during quarantine is was beneficial, um, because it allowed me to, like, really break down all of my problems and then to start and solve them. So, and I that partially it was partially from, other people, seeing other people struggle, and then I'd talk about their struggle with myself and kind of work out how to solve their struggle, and then in turn solve my own internal struggle as well. So when it comes to, so I think, yeah, and right now I'm cool. Like, in my mind, my insecurity is like at an all-time low. I'm cool I accept myself, like I've continued to work out and everything. I'm like, okay, being physically fit is definitely a plus. 'Cause I can look at myself in the mirror, flex, and be like, ooh, that's hot. Um, but yeah, so I think I can get into the problem solving now. Um, and this is where this is where I start talking about, I'm going to do a video on complexity later, or a podcast on complexity later. I want to talk about my AP English class one day. But this is where it starts to get a little technical, but we start to solve some problems. So when I started on the issue of insecurity and what it is. I break down the problems. I kind of like get to the core is what I do. Like, once I get to the center of the problem, I can solve it from the inside out, and it becomes immensely easier to solve. So when you look at the core of insecurity, take the word, you're not secure, you're not sure, you don't feel safe. You don't feel you don't feel secure. And so I ask myself, okay, so why are you feeling insecure? That's the question. That's where the complexity, you know, why? Always ask the question why, because why will give you the answer. So, why are you feeling insecure? Well, let's think about it for a sec. So we'll get back to that. So you got the why. So, like, why are you feeling insecure? Right? You got that question, but you don't know how to answer it completely. That's fine. So then you go to the what. What are you insecure about? And so here we're talking about, okay, you're insecure about your body, how you look, your face, physical. It's a physical insecurity. You don't fully accept the way you look, and you think that other people think a certain way about how you look, and it's not a positive, thought. So what you need to do is, I mean, we can get to the core. Like, I want to talk through it. Like, I can, like, solve the problem. Um, but it's kind of like, you solve the problem without showing any of your work. Um, I mean, okay. It's like, this is like it's a bad explanation, but it's like the only way I can kind of explain it. Um, wow. Okay. This is like, it sounds weird in my head, but basically, you don't accept your body. So accept your body. That's terrible. But if you think about it, so, like, why? Why, like, so, like, what are you insecure about? Your body. Okay, why are you insecure about your body? Okay, so let's I'll use me for example. Why are you insecure about your face? Well, because girls don't like me. Okay, why do you think girls don't like you? Well, because I'm ugly. Okay, why do you think you're ugly? Well, because girls don't like me. Okay, so then that's the cycle, right? So girls don't like you because you're ugly, or you don't you think girls don't like you because you're ugly. That's it. Um. Okay. All right. How about this? How about we so this is that's the problem, right? That's why you're insecure about your face. You think because your face is ugly, girls don't like you. Okay, so that's the problem. So let's take the problem apart. How about we don't care what girls think? Okay. Now, it would be kind of I guess you could say ignorant to ignore the, kind of, I don't know, a primal, I guess, the natural, you know, want or need for, physical attraction, physical attention, human interaction, or the intimacy, you want a girlfriend because, you know, um, and I get that, right? But I'm just gonna, get straight to the point here. It's all in your head. The key word is you think, because you don't know. I mean, sure, you got the dating apps say, oh, you're not getting any matches, so you're probably ugly. Girls don't like you. Um, and I was watching another video on dating apps, and basically, women only use them to like, um, kind of like verify themselves, you know. And obviously, it's not all of them, but apparently most of them they they just go on the apps, swipe on who they think is attractive, and then if they get matched, they're like, okay, they think I'm pretty, so I'm cool, and then they don't talk to the guy, and so they just, it's a self verification kind of thing. Or not self, but it's a verification. They're like, okay, I'm still pretty. People still think I'm pretty, so we're good, and they don't have to put any effort in. Um, but let's not worry about girls or women at all. Let's just take them out of the equation. So now you don't have a reason to be insecure because there's nothing for you to come to that conclusion. You can't come to that conclusion without that variable. If women are taken out of the equation, then you can't come to the same answer, right? So that's it. That's one, like, kind of like the first step. What's the issue here? The issue is you're putting, and this is like, I watched a video on how self-help people are like not good for you, but I did learn some stuff from self-help, and I watched like Tony Robbins and stuff, and one thing that really resonated with me that he said is you can't value other people's opinions over your own opinion of yourself. So to put that more simply, it's like you need to think like your opinion of yourself needs to be of higher value than somebody else's opinion of yourself. So, like, what somebody else might think of me is less important than what I think of me. What you think of yourself should be the most important. And so that's really, that kind of leads to the ultimate thing is it's all in your head, right? That's the core of it is it's all in your head. Um, it's all about what you're thinking, So the only reason you're insecure about your body is because you think other people aren't attracted to you, or that's at least what it was for me. And so when quarantine happened, and it was probably a good thing because if I'm not at school, I can't be judged on my appearance, you know? And that might have been a part of the problem, school. Um, but the more time I spent with myself, improving myself, I started to feel better about myself and thinking, and through the thinking of, just me talking to myself about these things, I started to realize, it's my opinion of myself matters more than anybody else's. That's the bottom line. And the and why shouldn't I feel good about myself, It it also comes to another thing, like, what is thinking negatively about yourself doing for you? Like, at a core level. Like, I it's like somebody might say, well, I can't help it. Like, they don't know why they feel this way about themselves. They don't know, it's like, I don't know why I think I'm ugly. I just feel that I'm ugly, you know? And it's like, okay, well, why are you thinking that? Just don't think that, you know? Like, on a personal level, like, don't ask anybody. You have to, like, it goes back to the opinion thing. Your opinion has to matter more than anybody else's. So if you think you're attractive, and somebody says, "Oh, you're not attractive," well, then their opinion doesn't matter because it's not your opinion, and they don't know you. That's another thing. People who don't know you can't really form an opinion about you because they don't know you. Like, sure, they can look at your face and, and then yeah, that's another thing about preference. And I guess I can talk about that in a little bit. But the bottom line is, it it'll do you more good to think better of yourself no matter what anybody else says. So, like, if thinking about like, if you think you're ugly and that's making you sad, then just try your best to think that you're attractive. And it's not easy. My guy, I was watching an Eric Thomas speech, and he was like, it's not or no, it was Les Brown, and he said, it's not easy. It's not easy changing your life. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And that goes for a lot of things. It's not easy to change your mindset. It takes time, right? It's not going to happen overnight, and you got to understand that. I understand that because it happened over multiple months of quarantine, where I was isolated, and it was a lot of self-thought. Like, you have to think these over. It's kind of like meditation. You have to think these things over in your head and rationalize them, bring some logic to them, and then realize that you're trying to better yourself. You're trying to do this for you. You're trying to become a better person. And so you you're trying to better yourself. So that's kind of where, you know, you gotta take the time to think about, you know, who are you and what do you want? Um, so yeah, it's not easy, but over time, if you have the time, like over time, if you think about it enough, if you truly want to improve, you'll, over time, you'll get into that habit of not caring what other people think. You'll start to realize that your opinion is the most important opinion regarding how you feel about any part of yourself. And, realize that nobody's perfect. Everybody has their flaws. Taking that to heart, not just, like, okay, yeah, we know that, but like really getting that through your head. Like, like no one is ever going to be perfect. You know, no matter who you look at, no matter what you look at, there's always going to be some sort of imperfection. You know, it may not be a physical imperfection, it might be a mental imperfection, a social imperfection, whatever it may be. Nobody is perfect. Absolutely no one. And once you start to realize, once you get that, and then kind of, pinpointing your imperfections, you know, you and start to accept them, slowly over time. Like that's what I started to do. I was like, okay, this is something that's wrong with me, but you know what? That's okay. Like, for example, like I used to have, like I don't know, I have acne, right? And so you're like, okay, well, acne's not, it's not appealing to look at. Like, obviously, no one wants acne, but okay, and I acknowledge that it's a flaw that I have. But the thing is, I'm not gonna let that determine. I'm not gonna use that as a way to say, oh, I'm ugly. I'm gonna say, okay, I have this flaw. That's okay because everybody else has flaws. And I'm gonna wash my face. Obviously, I don't want acne, so I'm gonna wash my face and all that. I'm gonna do my best to improve the situation, but I have to understand that it's there. The improvement isn't gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take time. And while that happens, whatever anybody else thinks about it doesn't matter. It like if somebody thinks I'm ugly because I have acne, okay, so what? You know? I'm working on it. I know I'm working on it. I know I'm trying to improve. So I don't care what other people think about my acne. And that's the core. So once you get that down, and no matter what it is, if you're a little overweight or you don't think your body's proportionate to other parts of your body, like you once you accept that, and then if you're trying to work and you try to work on it because you should want to improve. I personally believe like the point of living, like the I think the meaning of life is to improve, to get better. So if you acknowledge a flaw and you strive to improve despite the flaw, then you're living your best life and you should be secure with yourself. And like I said, these things take time, you know, and it takes wisdom, talking to people. I know I've talked to myself a lot, and I've like I know how to think things through with myself. But if you're not like a person who does that, you might need to talk to somebody about it. And it can be tricky if that's your situation because people may tell you something wrong or not say something correctly, and it might lead you on the wrong path. So that's kind of where you need to kind of gauge, who are your friends, who are you talking to, who's actually a trusted adult or a trusted friend, someone you can actually talk to that will give you valid information. Um, I personally think that I know I think that I'm pretty knowledgeable about these things. Obviously, I'm still learning and thinking through things, but I personally feel like I could, talk to somebody about something like this and then give them some, valid solutions or suggestions to help them. Granted, I have, absolutely no uh, formal education of, whatever I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, so that's the insecurity. So just, I mean, like, just don't be insecure. um, just, I mean, and it doesn't help to think negatively about yourself. So why would you do it? You know, it's all in your head. It's all, you can just as easily think that you're the hottest person on earth as you could thinking that nope, that you're the ugliest. You could easily, just as easily think that, people can't keep their hands off of you as easily as you could think that nobody wants to have anything to do with you. It's all about, you gotta, if you have a negative mindset, you gotta change. You have to work on changing that mindset, and it takes time and it takes, some practice. But once you get it, you'll be all the better for it, and then you can continue to improve. Like, I personally think that I have achieved a level of like security. Like, I'm cool with myself. Like, I think I'm cool. I think I look good, and I'm ready to take on the world, one problem at a time, because I'm cool with myself. I accept myself. I know who I am, and I like who I am. I love who I am, and I love myself. You know, I always think about. I saw it was somebody made a comment on somebody's post, and it just said, you need to love yourself more. And I was like, I vibe with that. That's the vibes, like, for real. That's the vibes. You need to love yourself, despite all of your flaws. And everybody's situation is different. People come from different backgrounds. It's not going to be the same as the journey isn't going to be the same for everybody. But, you need to take stock of your situation and try to find the best, most positive outcome, and then go for that. I mean, the bottom line, for everybody, which applies to everybody, is always strive for improvement. Just always try to get better. All right, so it's 4 minutes until an hour, so I'm gonna shut up. um, yeah, I don't know why you'd listen to an hour of me talking, but if you did, I hope this is like helped. And if anybody wants like clarification on some of my points, um, I'd be happy to talk to people. I'd be happy to like have somebody else to talk to, or maybe listen to, because I don't like I said, I don't really talk too much with other people. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you want more, just let me know. I mean, there's probably only my friends listening to me now, because they I don't talk to them like when I'm when I'm like with people. I don't like that. If you're my friends, like, I really don't open my mouth too much. Like, I'll just be sitting there, you know, listening. And then once you stop talking, like, I won't say anything. I'll just be like, yeah. um, but yeah. If anybody wants to talk through something, or one of my points, or or something else entirely, a certain topic y'all want me to talk about, talk to somebody else about, talk with somebody about, I'd be cool to do that. Just let me know. Y'all know my information, so feel free to reach out. All right, I'm gonna peace out. Zoom.